Okay, right. So I'm going to do a quick video now on what we need to do for mandatory pit stops. So we're going to have a mandatory pit stop in the feature race, which is the last race of the night, the 30-minute race, and not the first race. So it's a straight sprint for the first race and a mandatory pit stop for the second race. Now, if you want the quickest stop possible, a lot of people know this already because they've just done the practice with me, but for the people that didn't join us in the practice, I suggest you listen very, very carefully. I'll take you through this before the feature race anyway, so I'll do it for the first. Well, I'll do it for all the races because you'll have to know what to do. But I'm taking default setup off for now, so no default setups. Okay. The reason being is because once everyone's in, we're going to start the session on probably like a 10-minute practice session. On the 10-minute practice session, so you'll all sit in the pits, but no one is to go out on track before the feature race on this session. The reason why is because I'm going to show you how to edit your pit strategy to give you the fastest possible pit stop, mandatory pit stop in the feature race. You don't want them to fit tyres, you don't want them to give you any fuel, and you don't want them to fix any damage. Even though damage is off, I suggest turning it all off. I'll show you what to do. So if you have any pit stops allocated, what I would suggest, I had about 8 pit stops here, and 8 pit strategies, and I deleted them all. I deleted all of them and just made one for the Radical Championship. That's this one here. Even though we're on default setup, you need to do this, otherwise you will not get fast pit stops. Okay, so go into your strategy, and up the top with your fuel here, make sure you've got it completely to 0 litres. You don't want them to put any fuel in. Change tyres? No, obviously you don't want to change tyres. There's no tyre wear in this championship, so you won't need to change tyres. So make sure you have that on no. Now, this is the very important bit, okay? Tyre pressures. It is a rule, and I'm going to be implicating a rule in the championship that everyone runs at 150 on the front and 140 on the rear. I can't get that to 150 for some reason. It goes to 149, you see. So 151 is the closest, or 149 is the closest, but I prefer 151 because it's in the 50 range, and the same for this. It's either 39 or 41, but some of you might be able to get it to 40 dependent, but I have it on 40. So please make sure you do this, okay? If you don't, you will suffer with tyre temperature, possibly, okay? You may not get the tyres up to temperature to the maximum capacity. You may not get you may overheat your tyres and lose grip. So this is a good overall balance for the car. So 150 or 140, you need to set that before. Like I said, once the lobby's full up, we'll go through this and everyone will be talked through it and to do it. So you need to then click either rename it. Sorry, rename it with your square button there. So I rename mine Radical. Radical up there, and that's it. Click OK, and then click X to save. Don't click your circle button. Click X to save. Extremely important, and you'll see the bottom right hand corner it's saved. Make sure it's completely active. Make sure it's active, okay? If you do have any other pit strategies down the bottom there, make sure your Radical one is active, and make sure your Radical one is at the top of the screen. If your Radical one is second, third, fourth or fifth down and you still have it active, it may not work, because the reason I say that, it didn't work for me. It kept changing tyres. Even though it was active down the bottom, it kept changing tyres. So I would simply just delete everything apart from the Radical one, which you're going to make at the top. Okay, so once again, make sure you're on 0 fuel, make sure you have no tyres changed, make sure your tyre pressures are at 150 in the front and 140. That is important. If I suspect anyone's using higher or lower pressures, I'll ask them to show me a screenshot before we set off for the feature race. Failure to show me a screenshot, you won't be allowed to race. It's as simple as that. Okay, so 150 and 140 pressure, please, in your tyres. One thing I didn't mention actually was the fixed damage. Make sure it's all on no, just in case. Even if it's on yes, it shouldn't make a difference, but just make sure it's all on no. If you do all this right, you should have pit stops for around 4.5 to 6 second pit stops. Okay, there is varying pit stops when you come in for your mandatory. When you come in for your mandatory pit stop, you may have someone behind you. I had Mark behind me a couple of times in a couple of races we've done. He came in smack bang right up my exhaust pipes, and he came out in front of me in the pit lane by about half a second. So Sometimes they do vary, but they don't vary by much. Just think of it like a real race. Not everyone's going to get the exact same pit stop. You know, think of it like like a Formula 1 pit stop. Not everyone has the same pit times. So it varies, and you're going to get different pit times throughout the championship. But we tried it tonight, and it worked brilliantly, and everyone was playing out their strategies well, and it was quite fun. And I think it's really going to be good. So again, we only have a feature race pit stop, but we do not have the first race, the heat we do, or pre-qualifying, or whatever you want to call it. The first race we do not have a pit stop. It is a flat out straight sprint race because it's a 20-minute race. But that there is how you do your pit strategy. It should be saved for every track from now on, so you shouldn't have to do that again, but I probably will, before every feature race of every round, set up a quick 5-minute practice so everyone can just double check their pit strategy, and then we will skip to the end of the session, and then it'll be a 1-lap race. We will just all skip that and go back to the lobby, and we'll start our feature race. It's as simple as that. Okay, you need to do that if you want a quick pit time. You have to. If you don't do that, you're probably gonna suffer. Okay, and you're gonna get pissed off because you've missed out. But that is the quickest way to do a pit stop. And that's that really. So I thought I'd make a quick video just so you know exactly what to do. But again, we will all talk you. Me and David tested this out, and Kyle kindly came on and tested this out as well. So we'll talk you through it. If anyone's got any problems setting it up or can't do it or whatever, we'll just talk you through it. Just message me, and that's it really. Okay. So anyway, we'll see you on the 9th of January for round 1. Should be exciting. So yeah, catch you soon.